Okay, hi. Now we are going to understand how the use of will and going to are different. Okay? Right. Now, we know that the idea of will and going to, they are actually used to express future actions. Alright? Actions that have not happened yet. Alright? So you have will, which is from future simple, and be going to. Alright, okay, let's have a look at one by one of these tense. Alright, so for simple future tense, okay, the affirmative form is, you have your subject, the word will, and the verb. Alright, so for example, your brother will become famous soon. Okay, so we can also use apostrophe LL, okay, as the contraction for will. Okay, this is additional information for you. Alright, okay, so that is the form for affirmative simple future tense. I think everyone gets this, right? Next, okay, for the negative form, you simply add the word not. So it becomes, my friend will not marry that man. Or, if we want to use contraction, here, you can see the apostrophe here, right? So you can put it as, my friend won't marry that man. Okay? So won't is actually the contraction for will not. You can see here, right? Okay. I hope you're fine so far. Alright, now let's move to interrogative form, which is question form. Alright, now for simple future tense, for question form, right, this is how you construct your question. Will it rain tomorrow? Okay. So the word will start the sentence when this is a question. Alright. So when you ask this kind of question, these are the possible answers. Yes, it will. No, it won't. Or no, it will not. Right? So you have options there. Alright, now let's move to the use of simple future tense. So when do you actually decide to use simple future tense? Alright, so let's have a look here. First is when you are making predictions. Okay? When you're making predictions without any evidence. For example, here you can see, you will get married and have 10 children. Okay? So this is simply a prediction given by someone without any signs, without any symptoms or evidences. Alright? Okay, moving on to the next use, which is when you're making a quick decision. For example, I'll have another cup of coffee, please. So, before you order for something, right, you don't really, have a proper planning about it. So you quickly decide, I'll have another cup of coffee, please. Alright. Thirdly, when you're making promises or offers to other people. For example, okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Okay, so this is when you're making promises or offer. Okay, so for offer, maybe you can say something like, I will lend you this money and you will have to pay me back once you get your salary, once you get your pay. Okay, so this is when you are making promises or offers. Right. And the last one is when you're making a request or invitation. Alright. For example, I will, what examples? We will call you. Okay. We will call you once we have decided on the interview, for example. Okay. So these are the instances where you decide to use simple future tense rather than using going to. Alright, so these are the 4 usages that I want you to remember. Okay, because this will be different compared to when you're using going to. Okay, now let's move to going to. So once I have explained about going to, you'll see the difference in usage of simple future and going to. Alright, now we are going to look at the affirmative construction first. I am going to eat. You are going to KL, for example. Okay, he is going to propose to her, for example. Okay, so this is the form. Alright, so since it is future, so you don't really use verbs like was or were. Okay, everything here is in present. You can see am, are, is. Alright. Okay, for negative form, going to, I am not. So you simply include the word not to indicate negative. Right? Okay. So now for the question form, interrogative, right, you always start with am, is, or are. Right? Am I going to starve here? Is she going to, what? Is she going to join the team? Okay. Right. So this is the answers, possible answers. Yes, she is. Yes, they are. No, they aren't. No, she isn't. Alright. Okay. Now, let's look at when do you use going to. Alright. Now, first is when you're making a plan or you're having an intention. Okay. I'm going to practice hard to become a rock star. So what? How is it different from simple future? So when you see in the context here, in the example here, right? I'm going to practice hard to become a rock star. This is what I plan to do in order to become a rock star. So it's like something that you really plan. You have a clear intention of doing it. Alright? And I would say it is something that it will happen in a more distant future. Okay, as compared to I will order another cup of coffee. Alright, so it's different, right? Okay, or you can say I'm going to apply for a job as an engineer. Okay, so that's like a plan, a long-term plan. Okay, for the second usage, right, you're going to use be going to when you're making a prediction based on clear signs, indications. Alright, so whenever you look at the sky, right, so you can see, look at those clouds, it's going to rain. Alright, so rather than when you look at their symptoms, right, you can see that the sky is so dark. Okay, so you know this is a sign that it's going to rain. Okay. So let's recap. Okay, the use of will versus the use of going to. Okay, so for will, simple future tense. Alright, so we're talking about predictions where there's no evidence, no indication, no symptoms of anything to happen. So you're just making up a prediction. Okay. The second is when you're making a quick decision, like you want to order something, right? So you will say, I'll order a cup of coffee for you. Okay, or I will come with you if you're scared, right? And thirdly, when you're making promises or offers. Okay, and finally, when you're making a request or invitation to someone else. Okay, as opposed to going to, you will use going to when you're making a proper plan, something which is a little bit distant in future. Okay, and you're telling about your intentions. Okay, and next is when you're making a prediction based on clear signs. Alright, for example, okay, the temperature is getting hot. I'm going to what will happen when the temperature is so hot? I'm going to be baked here. Okay, so it's based on clear indications, some evidences, then you use be going to. Alright, so next. So it says here, when the main verb is be, we can use the simple future tense even if we have a firm plan or decision before speaking. For example, okay, I'll be in London tomorrow. I'm going shopping. I won't be very long. Will you be at work tomorrow? Okay, so we can use simple future tense even if we are talking about a proper plan, okay, before speaking. Okay, let's look at some of the questions examples here. If you have firm plans, use going to. But if you don't, use will. Okay, let's look at the example here to understand further. Alright, how are you going to spend your next vacation? Are you going anywhere? So normally when we talk about vacation, right, it is something that you will properly plan for it. So you use going to. Okay. Next, okay, when will the new machine arrive? Okay, so you are going to use simple future. You will use the word will when you don't have a firm plan about it. Okay, and look at the next example here. What are you going to do next? What do you plan to do? Alright. Next is anyone going to travel with you? So when you go for travel and you go for a visit, it's something that you properly plan before you go. Okay. So these are some of the examples that you can use to make comparison. Okay, to understand when to use will and when to use going to. Okay, some practice.